What never fails to make you tear up or cry? My late partner passed away from leukemia at 38 years old. He hid a letter for me in our room in case he didn't make it. It's the most beautiful and eloquent thing I've ever read. He talks about regretting not being able to see my hair turn grey, or seeing me accomplish my dreams. He gives me permission to fall in love again, be messy, and move forward. The level of support is so encouraging. It's also a heartbreaking read and I've only read it 3 times. I will read it again on the 2-year date of his passing at the end of this month. One particular patient I had working in a trauma center. 19-year-old girl I'd never seen before, and didn't know at all. She was ejected from a vehicle and then crushed because her boyfriend was trying to show off. I was training new staff, and they were at the end of their training, so I was only in the room to provide supervision and step in if necessary, and I spent the entire trauma holding her hand, on her request, and trying to comfort her and keep her mind off of the injuries to both of her legs. Her last words were spoken directly to me: "This really hurts. Can I go to sleep?" I cried for days after. I've never had a patient's death hit me as hard before or after. I'm so glad you were there to comfort her in her final moments. It's an often overlooked duty that many medical staff, from paramedics to nurses to doctors and more, perform. Also, in my opinion, one of the most important. Sometimes, you just can't save someone, but making their last moments as warm and comfortable as possible is one of the greatest acts of humanity one can perform. Thank you, on behalf of that young lady, and her family, for being there that day and making her final moments at least a little easier on her. That makes me wanna know how her boyfriend felt/reacted and what consequences he faced. She only died because of his recklessness. That must have been tough to deal with. Child abuse statements. I work with child abuse victims. I had a 6-year-old want to disclose sex abuse by her dad one day. Her reason for disclosing that day: "It's my birthday and I wanted to do something for me on my birthday." That killed me. I always feel so compelled to read them. All statements of abusive documentaries or whatever. It makes me cry and suffer, but at the same time, I feel like I owe it to the people who were brave enough to open up like that. Like, I'm in some way telling them that I hear them, and believe them, love them and remember them. Apparently reading through this thread. Cripes. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. The scene in My Girl when she is at Macaulay Culkin's funeral. He can't see without his glasses. The end of The Iron Giant. You stay, I go. No following. Zuko and Iroh's reunion in the finale of Atla. For me it's their exchange in the Siege of the North. Iroh, I'm sorry. I just nag you because, well, ever since I lost my son. Zuko, uncle, you don't have to say it. Iroh, I think of you as my own. Me, crying face. I was never angry. I was afraid because I thought you had lost your way. The ending of The Pursuit of Happiness when he finally gets the job. The struggles leading up to that point makes me tear up all the time when they finally give him the position. My God, that bathroom scene where he's holding the door shut while his kid sleeps, breaks me. Can't Help Falling in Love. Elvis was supposed to be the song my sister and her fiancé danced to at her wedding. Instead it was played walking into the church, at his funeral, after he took his own life. My poor sis was so strong that day, but that song still gets us both. Damn man, I'm sorry for your family's loss. That song is one that my wife and I had on our wedding playlist and was one of the first lovely songs I listened to with her. My dad is a huge Elvis fan and Elvis might be one of the only artists that he and I both enjoy. Much love to you, your sister, and the rest of your family. This is the song I walked down the aisle to and I now sing it to my kids at bedtime. I will have a special thought for your sister the next time I sing it. strategically placed albums from my youth. If I am half drunk and someone begins to play the album Four Corner Night by Jets to Brazil, I will become uncharacteristically nostalgic, and then openly sob at the idea of how good I was at being 18 years old, versus how shitty I am at being 38 years old. Getting old is weird. Isn't it so funny that I feel the opposite? I was utterly shit at being 18 to 28. Once I hit my 30s I feel like I know who I am and what I want. I would have killed to have a tenth of the confidence, self-awareness, sense of purpose that I have now when I was younger. Then again, if the past were different, who knows how I'd be now. Goodbyes. Doesn't matter what kind. I'll always get teary-eyed. Once as a teen I had a dream about my dad. Next day he left for a long work trip and I meant to say goodbye to him before he left but didn't. And the entire time I thought, something's going to happen to him. Something's going to happen to him. He made it back home fine and I realized that something didn't happen this time but it could happen the next or any other time. I'm not religious but I think it was some sort of divine wake-up call and I don't let people leave me without saying goodbye anymore. Especially as you get older and realize that the number of times you'll see some people again are limited. Sometimes it might even be the last time but you don't realize it yet. My wedding song. My husband died in an accident a little over 3 years ago, only 5 months after we got married. All I need to hear is the first note of the song and the grief hits hard. I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine your pain. I'm so sorry, pensive face. Little Miss Sunshine when the kid finds out he's colorblind and can't join the Air Force. The agony of losing the one thing that kept you going, the one thing that brought you joy and hope in life, just thinking about it now even makes me tear up. The ending monologue of movie The Shawshank Redemption. I find I'm so excited I can barely sit still or hold a thought in my head. I think it's the excitement only a free man can feel, a free man at the start of a long journey whose conclusion is uncertain. I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it has been in my dreams. I hope. The end of Homeward Bound. Especially when Shadow says, "Peter, you're okay." Like, they went through all of that and almost died multiple times and Shadow was just glad to know Peter was okay. Gets me every time. I am legitimately angry at you for bringing up Homeward Bound. The fucking audacity. Now I'm tearing up and my husband wants to know why. Thinking of that abandoned little kitten I found. I called him Mortimer. Tried to keep him alive. Bottle feeding him. Keeping him warm, skin to skin. Staying awake through most of the night. Calling in sick day after day to stay with Kitty. Emergency vet scheduling with them saying he probably won't make it. Kitty didn't make it. It's when my oldest cat slowly stalked up to the cat, nudging her nose against Mortimer's head. Mortimer didn't move. Didn't react. I put him in a shoebox with his blanket. So he would not be cold. Buried him and left a little pebble for a tombstone. That was 20 years ago. I'm sorry, Mortimer. I couldn't save you. Mortimer knew love thanks to you. I'm so very sorry for your loss. Not that my word will matter when you've had 20 years to reflect, but in his very, very brief life, you gave him some of the only warmth and comfort he would ever know. That is worth something. Watching Fox and the Hound, I was watching the part where she releases Todd with my 5-year-old daughter. Her with a catch on her voice asking why. Me explaining. Her in tears saying she'll take him, she'll take care of him. Now I cry. Every damn time. I used to watch this every day when I was like 3. But I would bawl for hours after. And then I'd put it on again the next day and repeat. My mom had to ban me from watching it because she didn't think that was healthy. Copper, you're my very best friend. And you're mine too, Todd. Fuck, I just made myself cry. Land Before Time when his mother is giving him the speech. When he's shouting his mother. Oh man, feels. When Littlefoot mistakes his shadow for his mother. The scene in Saving Private Ryan when the medic gets shot and dies on the field with the rest of his group desperately trying to save him. Oh man, that one really hurt. So much of that movie makes you feel the camaraderie only for them to get killed. Fantastic movie. Also the end. Tell me I'm a good man. Tell me I've lived a good life. Damn, tear up just thinking about that scene in the cemetery. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.